welcome back to Mad About Cards and Crafts. Today I'm excited to be collaborating with my friend Amanda over at Rise and Procraftinate. We talked about what type of project we wanted to collaborate on and decided on rainbow Christmas cards. I'm excited to see what she's created, and we'll have her link listed at the top of my description box. I wanted to use some products that have been in my stash that I haven't used, so I used this ink to paper stamp set. It's called Season of Joy. There's two different styles of joy stamps, and then there's a coordinating set of dies that I purchased separately. Also from Papertrey Ink, I have this Yuletide die. As you can see, it does cut out the center. That is also considered ink to paper. Here from CottageCutz, I did use the Snowman from the Snowman with Woodsy Friends. And then finally, I'm going to do my ink blending and stamping with Catherine Pooler ink. I've started with Mardi Gras and Fiesta Blue, Flirty Fuchsia, Be Mine, Bellini, Tiara, and the light green was Garden. I have a piece of accent opaque cardstock in my Misti, and I'm stamping up the Boulder J and Y from this stamp set. On the J, I'm using the yellow, which is Tiara, and I'm using the Bellini for my orange. I will use the coordinating dies to cut these off screen. Moving on to the wreath, I did want to do a two-tone, so I started with the Garden, and then I blended in a little bit of that Mardi Gras on the edges. Funny thing, I do like to leave my faux pas in. Here I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that I need the left side of my wreath to have more of that Mardi Gras, and I keep stamping or inking up the left side of my wreath, which means that the right side is going to continue to get more ink. I'm going to figure it out right here, and I'm going to stamp the opposite side, and there we have the blend that I'm looking for. I'm going to add a little bit more of that garden green over the top of the wreath, and that's just going to smooth the transition between the two colors out a little bit. I have a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch accent opaque white cardstock, and I'm going to do some rainbow ink blending. There were a lot of different ideas that I had for the cards today, but as I said, I really wanted to use some products that I haven't used in a long time. I've been doing a lot of design team work, and so I'm trying to get back to some of the things that I absolutely just loved when I first started stamping, and ink to paper was one of those companies, or Papertrey Ink. So this Catherine Pooler ink is beautiful for ink blending. Again, I started with the pink, and it was the Be Mine. I blended it with the Bellini, which is the orange. I added the Tiara. I used the light green, which was the garden green, and then I also used Fiesta Blue and Flirty Fuchsia. As you can see, one of the things that I really struggle with when I'm creating rainbow cards, not just this card, but most every card that I create, is I never start in the middle, and I think that I would do myself a big favor if I started with either the yellow or the green in the middle, and I would get my stripes just a little bit more even. They're always just a little bit more squished at the bottom, so I did work a little bit at blending some of those colors up, and I love the way that this turned out. So I'm going to do a little bit of splattering. If you're new to my channel, this is something that I do on so many of my cards. It just makes my heart very happy. I do have white gouache here, but I am going to add a little bit of the Catherine Pooler ink. I have the Flirty Fuchsia. I've spritzed it with a little bit of water to make splattering easy. I have the Fiesta Blue. And finally, I'll finish with a little bit of, I want to say I used maybe the Mardi Gras for the other green. Let's take a look here. Yep, nope, I think I used, yep, that is the Mardi Gras. So I did use the Mardi Gras ink to add a little bit more splatter. I will dry it with my heat tool. I think it looks like party confetti. What do you think? So I love the look of this. Now I'm going to bring in that Yuletide die. I use some accent opaque white cardstock, and I cut that out, and I think that this is just such a beautiful panel. I'm going to add some art glitter glue to the outer edges and then to part of the foliage and the inside frame. And then I'm going to just place it on top of that rainbow card. As I mentioned, this is a collaboration with my friend Amanda. We used to be together on Team Tiny, and she is just a fabulous creator. So I do want to encourage you, if you haven't been over to her channel, to make sure that you do head over to her channel and see what she created. She is so incredibly talented. She has so many tips and tricks and ideas, and I always learn something from her. So please make sure that you do head over and show her a little bit of love. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you, and I want to ask if you like what you see to make sure that to give this video a thumbs up, make sure that you subscribe, and then ring the bell so you're notified whenever I upload a video. I did cut out the J and the Y 2 more times, and here I'm just stamping the bow that comes in the stamp set for the wreath. So I did die cut it. I used the negative space to line up my stamp, and then I placed the die cut inside, and that's what I used to stamp. I did use that Fiesta Blue on that ribbon. Here I'm just stacking up my letters, so they're going to be 3 high. It's going to give me a little bit of dimension. I really like to use the paper if I have the dies. I think that it's just a little bit easier, especially when you have curves and small spaces like the right side of the Y and the bottom of the J. I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding card base, and I'm just going to place that panel on there. I did want to mention that I had created another project, and I will link it at the end of this video, using that snowman. So I had colored up several of them. In fact, I actually got an order for these cards, so I did have to create quite a few of them. And so what I did is I had this one already put together. The colors I thought fit perfectly with this particular card, and so I thought that it would be a nice addition. I've added some foam tape to the bottom half of the snowman and to my wreath, and I'm going to leave that top of the head without any foam tape because I want to make sure that it rests nicely on top of the wreath that's already popped up. And again, I didn't add any glue to the back of his head because I want to make sure to slide my wreath in and get it positioned the way I want it. And it's a good thing that I did not do that, because at the end of this card, I do end up repositioning the wreath. So I think I have things where I want them, and I'm going to start gluing them down. I'm going to add the ribbon to the wreath at the top. And then I'm going to use that art glitter glue to glue down the J and the Y. So if you count the wreath and you go diagonally, it says joy. And here's where I decide that I want to reposition the wreath. Once I get it lifted up and I reposition it, I do add some art glitter glue to the back of the snowman's head, and that's going to be my card for today. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. Again, I want to encourage you to head over to Amanda's channel, see what she's created. Thank you, Amanda, for inviting me to be part of your Christmas collaboration series. Here's a look at my card. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for watching.